In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. Today I am not here with Joe. Instead, as promised last week, I am here with Todd, or Graham Todd, or Graham Todd.
Just Todd.
Hello.
Todd is fine.
Todd.
Hello.
How
are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about networking. Well, actually what's going to happen is that I am going to whinge about how I would rather stick pins in my eyes than go networking. And Todd is going to tell us all about 4N and why it's actually better than sticking pins in your eyes. So Todd, tell us what you've been doing with 4N.
Cool, okay. Well, it's not like sticking pins in your eyes. It's actually really good. But I was in the same boat as you about 3 years ago. I thought, what a load of crap. Why would I go and do that? When I can just use online and content. But I started networking for our business a couple of years ago. Fished around a bit, looked at different networks, went to B&I. God, that was horrible. False referrals and ties and all that sort of shit, and that's not me. I went to a few free things. As you know, and as your listeners will know, free stuff is shit. Because you don't value it. So you go there and you just think it's free. And then I found Full Networking, which just suits me because it's relaxed, it's full of entrepreneurs. There's a real buzz about it. You can be yourself, which suits me, which will suit you. And I've been doing it now for 2 years. And a year ago, I was asked to be a group leader. And I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to get pulled into the cult. And I initially pushed it back. But now, as it stands, I'm the group leader for the UK's biggest full networking event in the UK. And I have been for the last 5 months, non-stop, over 2016. So it's pretty much cemented me into the UK network. And next week, I'm speaking at the business show in London because of Full Networking. I've just had about 5 inquiries through email that I hadn't gone and got through Full Networking. Someone paid me money to speak to me yesterday for Full Networking. My workshops are full of people from Full Networking. I could go on. It's been incredible, but it takes a long time.
Well, that sounds really exciting. Sorry, that I sounded like I was coming from a long way away then because I was closing the door because the washing machine's going mental. That sounds actually really exciting. You're speaking at the business show in London, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's like a bucket list thing. I mean, I'm speaking on the stand for Full Networking, but it's the biggest stand at the show. And they've asked me to speak about how networking's changed me because it has. And the MD of Full Networking saw me. He came to my group actually to speak as a speaker, and then I got an email from his PA to say I'm speaking at the business show next week. Not can you, but you are. You are speaking at the business show, which is fantastic. So I get to speak before Stephen Thomas, who's a networking guru. You're going to check out Stephen Thomas, and around all the peers and the people whose books I read are all speaking, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm there on a little stage, but it's a start, and it wasn't even something I went to get. It was just something that sort of landed in my lap, which is kind of what networking is all about.
Cool. Okay, so tell us a little bit. I'm going to ask you some more questions about 4N in a bit, but tell us a little bit about BNI, because I remember going along to a few networking meetings when I first started, and it was just awful. It was like you said, it was polyester ties, and it was people just hustling each other, and nobody would look you in the eye because everybody was too busy thinking about what their next pitch was going to be to the next person they ran across, and it just made me want to vomit.
Yeah, no, but BNI, that's what BNI was a bit like. You know, networking suits different people, and I'm very different to the type of BNI. So I don't want to badmouth BNI. It's just not for me. But what you just described there is BNI. It's hundreds of people in suits, all the same. They all look the same. You only have one person from each industry in the room. It's fairly stuffy, and you have to refer business to people in the room. Now, if I'm in a room with someone and they're a copywriter, and I think they're a dick, I'm not going to refer anyone to them. I'm just not going to do that. But you have to do that in BNI, or you get found out and told off. And I'm like, screw this. I could just see myself getting into trouble because of my social networking. I've got so many connections that people I meet and I think, oh, God, they're brilliant. You know, you check them out and you chat with them and you build rapport. I thought, I can't be doing that and then just referring to this aegis in a room I don't like in a suit. So BNI for me was a little bit cloak and dagger and a bit is almost like the Masons of networking. And the funny thing is that the MD, or the just not retired MD, but the MD that started off for networking, which is Brad Burton, he went to BNI when he started his own business 10 years ago and hated it. And that's why For Networking was created, because it wasn't BNI. And it certainly feels like that now. It's just lots of business gets passed, but it's not forced. It's just, let's all get to know each other. Let's swap ideas. Let's help each other out. Let's work together and see what happens. And it's more like that, which I suppose sounds a little bit more airy-fairy than BNI, but it works. It just takes a little bit more time, but the relationships are at the start of it rather than the business.
Yeah, well, no, it sounds more real, because the problem that I had with the networking meetings that I went to, and I think I went to like one BNI one and then a couple of other different ones, and the problem that I had was that nobody seemed real. Everybody had this face that they put on, and everybody was, like I said, they wouldn't actually engage with you. All they were doing was waiting to see if you could be of some use to them, which just was a bit grim. And just all these people just seemed to have no ambition. There was like an air of desperation. And I'm sure some of them are listening to me right now and sticking pins in an effigy of me, and I couldn't give a shit, frankly, because that's exactly what it was like. But the way you talk about Foreign makes it seem like actually it's very different. So tell us a bit about what goes on at a Foreign meeting.
Okay, Foreign is, well, their actual tagline, which I feel I should say it now, is 50% business, 50% social. So you go there and you're basically catching up with friends. That's how I feel. So my meeting is tonight. There's 40 people going. It's a pretty big meeting. And I'm really looking forward to just catching up with all my networking friends and family. And it's a really great meeting. So you get sort of 20 minutes at the beginning, which is just informal, chatting, networking. There's no business cards passed and all that crap. It's just catching up. We have wine at ours because it's the evening, so it's really nice. And we all have dinner. We sit down and have dinner. And we all do like a 40-second round, which is where you stand up and you say something about yourself for 40 seconds. The trick is to say why someone would want to have a further conversation with you, not say, I sell these solutions and these are my things, because that's just dull. And don't stand up and say you're an accountant. It switches off immediately. So you do a 40-second round, and then there's a guest speaker. So someone gets an 18-minute slot to give an insight into their life or their business. It's absolutely not a sales pitch, which is a good thing, because the last thing you want to happen is be sold to for 18 minutes. And then people have 3 10-minute one-to-ones. So you swap business cards at a certain point. Say, do you know what, that person sounded really interesting, or I like the sound of them, I like the cut of their jib, I want to have a chat with them for 10 minutes. And you just swap business cards with each other and you get a chance to have 3 10-minute one-to-ones. And that's the best bit, really. You actually do have 3 small business meetings, which you then start a conversation on. If you like them, you email them, call them, meet them, coffee, whatever.
That sounds to me like it's almost kind of like speed dating, but for business people, and that sounds like quite good fun. I can't be
It is quite good fun. I mean, sometimes you do get stuck with someone for 10 minutes and you think, oh my God, I don't want to speak to this person. But that's life, you know. And the problem that most people have with networking is they focus too much on what's happened in the room. So you leave the meeting and you think, have I got any business from it? No. You leave the room thinking, did I meet any interesting people? Well, not today. Or can I get anything out of this place? No, probably not. But those people in that room, like tonight, there's 40 people. That means that I've got access really to 400, 500 different people, because you kind of self through the room. And if you say the right things and you do the right stuff, and obviously everyone tonight's coming to my meeting, which is even better for my profile, you never know where that's going to go. And I now get referrals all the time, and emails, tweets, LinkedIn, everything, just because of the profile that I've got through there. But it's taken time. So you're waiting for people to be ready to buy from you, to meet people who need you. I get loads of people going to my workshops just purely because they've met someone who knows me through 4N and also says I should come and speak to you. And they're instantly sold. Whatever I say, they're going to buy it because their friends told them I'm brilliant, which is great. Yeah. But of course, all that takes time. You cannot rock up to one meeting and suddenly get all that stuff. And I think that's what most people do. They go on meeting and think, well, they're the crap, I'm not going there again.
I think you're right, and I think that translates as well, not just to networking, but to all types of marketing. There's so many people who kind of do something and expect like instant return, just like that. And actually, the whole thing is about building relationships. It's like you said, 40 people in a room. Some of them are bound to be interesting and, you know, fascinating people that you want to get to know better. That has nothing to do with business necessarily, but you want to get to know them better. You build the relationships, and later on down the line is when you get your return on relationship, I like to call it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit like you're in a circle, you know. That's a core of people who really, really help each other out. My 4N is like my outer circle, if you like, but it's getting smaller, and it's a stronger network. And they are there to bounce ideas off. You know, I meet my accountant at 4 Networking, and I'm actually having a meeting with her before the meeting tonight, and we'll just chat, you know, with a glass of wine. That's a pretty cool way to meet your accountant. And if I want to ask her a 30-second question, and it's a 4N, I can do that. I mean, so you end up working with 4Ners because they're in the same room as you. And with the foresights and running your own groups, you get to kind of show off what you're about as well. And it's just been brilliant for me, but I was in the same boat as you 3 years ago and just thought, I am not doing that. I don't want to speak. I hate speaking to people. I actually prefer being on my phone behind my computer. Like people, Jesus, they got diseases and all sorts of things. I don't want to get near them. But actually, you take time to get to know them all and get into the situation of networking, and it becomes addictive, to be honest. It's now become a thing. It's almost ingrained into my life in spaghetti, but it's working. So
yeah, well, you guys are totally social. I think my problem is, and a lot of people I think that I meet and that I'm friends with, because you know you find the people that you're similar to, but I can't do small talk. So you know, when people are kind of like, you know, oh, the weather today and blah, and just stuff that's just inconsequential, and I just can't be arsed with it. It's hard work. So, and you get a lot of that at some of the networking, or the ones that I've been to. And so I was just kind of like, oh, you know what, I can't be bothered with this. I'd much rather have an interesting conversation about something a bit controversial with people that really. Exactly.
You could definitely find those people.
Yeah, so it does sound vaguely interesting. It sounds vaguely. I'm thinking less pins in your eyes now and more spoons. So, so tell us what advice you would offer for someone who is thinking about going networking for the first time but isn't quite sure.
Okay, good question. Try a few different ones. So that's what I did at the start. I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I'm brilliant. But you should definitely try a few different ones, because you can go to a very, very bad 4 networking event. I mean, I've been to one and it was horrible. I've had to have been to a few, and sometimes it's just not right. And sometimes the energy of the people in the room is wrong. So don't discredit one meeting on 2 hours of networking when you're new. Try some different ones. Within 4 networking, you can go to different meetings in the same area. So I don't have to go to Leamington. I can go to Coventry. I'm going to Bolton next week. Try different ones out, because you'll meet different people. Don't go to networking to sell your stuff. Go to networking to meet other people, because everyone knows how to switch off a YouTube video. No one likes a door-to-door salesman. We skim over the adverts on our phones. We don't want to be sold to. The last thing you ever want to do at networking is try and sell to people. You need to connect with people and tell people how you can help them, just like you would in copyright and what you teach with your guys. It's the same thing. It's just real life stuff. You're just out there. And follow up is the biggest thing. So I mentioned Stephen Thomas, but he's a big advocate of following up. So you get 3 business cards from 4N. Make sure you call them or email them or say something or help them, send them a free ebook or something. Just so it's something. And I put them in my CRM and I make sure I follow up with them. And then if I meet them at another networking event, at least I've said something to them between that. I've followed them on Twitter, I've added them to LinkedIn, and something's happened before I meet them again. And it speeds up that whole relationship process. We've got the internet and the telephone. There really isn't any excuse not following up.
Exactly. I'm always going on about following up. It's absolutely the most important thing that you could possibly do, because this thing that we're doing is all about relationships. It's like you said, you don't want to be going in there trying to sell to people cold, because it's not going to, 99 times out of 100 it's not going to work, and it's going to make you and them feel really awkward. So yeah, it's all about building relationships. So how would you suggest that somebody prepares for their first networking meeting?
Oh, good one. Most networking meetings, you have to stand up and say 40 or 60 seconds about yourself, which is almost the thing you should do. Yeah, you should practice what you say, and you need to say something so compelling that someone's going to come up to you and say, I want to speak to you. So you don't say who you are, you say what you do for other people. It's the same argument for copywriting as it is in networking. You must practice that. On every single smartphone, there is an app that records your voice. Just record it and listen to it and time it and get it right. No one likes the one that talks 7 minutes when it's supposed to be 30 seconds or 40 seconds or 60 seconds. And you need to get your call to actions spot on. So practice that. Don't forget your business cards. Take more than you think you will need. If there's 40 people in there, take 50. Someone might want to take 3. You might lose some on the way there. Not having a business card at a business meeting or networking meeting is a bit of a fail. And be yourself, because... Yeah, just be yourself. You can't not be yourself. But you've got to be yourself. If you go there pretending to be something else, you'll feel awkward, you'll feel horrible and nervous. You will feel nervous. You're going to meet new people. You've got to stand up in front of people, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. If you know me, and anyone that's met me knows that I actually quite like doing that, but I'm a freak. Most people don't like doing that. But it is a nerve-wracking experience. But the thing is, everyone else in that room is also shitting themselves about standing up and talking in front of a big room. And to a certain extent, I do for my 40 seconds as well. Running the meeting's easy because I can fluff it all the way through, but 40 seconds is tough. So practice it, be yourself, and just have an open mind. You just never know who you're speaking to. You never know. I don't know who's listening to this. We don't know who's going to view it. I don't know if I've annoyed someone by what I've said. You just never know what you do and where you go and who you meet. So have an open mind.
Yeah, and remember that you can't please all the people all of the time. So just please yourself, and at least one person's happy.
I love that. Yes, that as well.
So, right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give us your 40-second pitch, Todd.
Okay, cool. Well, mine changes every week, so let's go from now. Social media doesn't work, and people always tell me all the time, and have been for 7 years, that social media does not work for their business. The funny thing is, last week, someone who I've not seen for 19 years bought something from me from Facebook. I don't even know how that happened because social media doesn't work. Social media does work, but it only works when you do it properly. If you want to know how to do it properly, you need to come and speak to me. My name's Todd from Spaghetti Agents. Yeah, that'll do. I'll do that one tonight.
Nice.
I just kind of make them up every week. But you've got to have some intrigue, and you have to start off with something that people aren't going to expect you to say. So when I stand up and say social media doesn't work, everyone either laughs or is like, what's he on about? There's no way he does. So if you're an accountant or you're if you're an accountant, because it's a good example, because accountancy is dull. Everyone thinks it's dull, but my accountant is not dull. But she stands up and says that she's the Telegraph's #1 accountant, according to the Sunday Telegraph. And she says it every week, and we're like, God, she's good. She's the Sunday Telegraph's #1 accountant that she's been voted for by their customers. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to do it. Or some people stand up and say, I help people stay out of prison, because they do some sort of tax advice or something. You have to have something that grabs their attention right away, because to be honest, most people listening to everyone else's 40 seconds, 60 seconds are worrying about what they're going to say when they stand up. And you're thinking, oh, crap, I haven't practiced it. I'll just say this and that, and they're not listening to what you're saying. So you kind of missed this chance. You have to say something pretty powerful, just like a great headline, really. It comes back to copywriting. I think that's why I like it. You have a smashing headline and an awesome call to action. You've got to do it.
Yeah, that's really good advice for everywhere, actually. Actually, putting together a kind of 40-second little introduction is probably a really good idea for everybody listening, because it forces you to think about what you do and how you do it in a slightly different way. So it's like you just said, Todd. If you just come up and stood up and said, "Oh, I do social media, blah blah blah," it's just like that's really dull. But to stand up and start with something like social media doesn't work and be contrarian that way is interesting, because it'll get people thinking, well, hang on, what's I thought he was a social media person. What on earth is he saying? Is he selling bullshit? So it kind of makes you sit up and think.
I'm in a crowded market. There's a lot of people doing what I do. Lots of them are shit, and lots of them are better than me. But I want to make sure that I stand out. The problem is when I say I do social media for people, they're like, he's one of them. And if you stand up and say, I'm an accountant, I've got one of them. Then I say, I'm a personal trainer, or I sell Forever Living products. Everyone's like, that's switch off completely. What's different about you? That's what you need to lead on. And how can you make people pay attention? And why would they want to come and speak to you? That's what it's all about. Most people get it wrong. Most people just try and sell off that 40 seconds and it's a total waste of time.
Absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something about your industry that makes you different either, because if I was going to stand up at a networking meeting, I would probably lead with something along the lines of, I've run away with the circus, because I don't know any other copywriters that do circus stuff. I don't know any other copywriters that have like a superhero avatar like I do. So that in itself is a cool thing for me. So that's quite a good way for people to stand out as well. Have something about you that is just different to everybody else. And everybody has it, because, you're not all clones of each other. So what is it about you that makes you stand out? Basically, be different.
Exactly. I mean, my brand, as you know, is Wild West. So I go to every single meeting in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. And I've got my Spaghetti Agency shirt on for consistency of the brand. You should go as a superhero. That's what you should do, with a cape. That's so different to every other copywriter. Most copywriters wear tweed. It's just what makes you different. And I like that. I think you've got an awesome brand, and our brand's really fun, and play with it. Most people aren't brave enough to do that. But
I don't make enough of my brand. I don't make enough of it. Actually, I bought the other day from Lego. I haven't bought any Lego for years and years, and I was buying a gift for somebody. But I saw on their website, they've got I'm holding it in my hands right now. This is it, if you can hear that. I have a Wonder Woman keyring Lego figure, and it's awesome, and you can pose her arms, and she's got a button on her belly that lights her feet up with little LED lights, and it's just the best thing ever. And I saw that, I was like, I have to have that. And if when I get it out, if I think it's completely awesome, I might add it to my superheroes, small business superheroes inner circle welcome box, because I think it's just
great idea.
Yeah. So I might do that. So if anybody wants to join the small business superheroes inner circle, you might well find that you get a pretty awesome superhero dude. Not that I'm trying to bribe you or anything.
As well. It's all about the extra benefits.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So yeah. Okay. So anything else you want to say about networking, Todd? What, this is your last ditch attempt to persuade me to come along to a meeting at some point.
I asked for networking tips this morning. I've got a private, well, it's not a private Facebook, it's a Facebook group for networking. And I answered a question this morning, and it just said, what's your best networking tip? And the network leader for Networking, who's in it, just said, his comment was, just fucking do it. That's his comment. Just do it. Just get on with it. Because, a year from today, you wish you started. No, I wish I'd started networking ages ago. You just never know what you're going to get out of it. And you can deliberate everything. I'm the type of person who just gets on with stuff and tries it. And I fail a lot. I fail on a lot of things, and I get a lot of stuff wrong. And I've written content that doesn't work, and I've sent tweets that come off. But do you know what? For all the bad stuff, you get a lot of good stuff as well. And I'm glad I found it. I'm glad I tried it, and it's changed my personality and my outlook on life and stuff. It's been a bit of a journey, to be honest. But I was skeptical. We nearly didn't do it. Joe said, you're just going to stand in the corner on your phone and ignore it. But my advice is just do it. Go and find a good one. Come to mine if you're local to Warwickshire. That's not a pitch at all. I'm full tonight. You can't come. But I'd love you to come and check it out because it's brilliant. It's good fun. Okay, cool. Well, give everyone a URL to visit or a website to go visit if they're interested. Cool. The best one is to come to my website, to be honest, because the forum website's tricky to navigate. So if you just go to spaghettyagency.co.uk and just contact me on the website there and just say, I want to come to Forum, I'll find you a local one. It's UK-wide, so I don't make any money out of it. It sounds like I'm a grey salesman, but it's all over the country. There's Scotland, there's London, there's Taunton where it's based. So anywhere in the UK, I'll give you a few tips and I'll put you in contact with the right people so that you don't feel like a numpty when you turn up, because they're all really nice people and they love having new visitors. So spaghettyagency.co.uk, drop me a contact and I'll put you in contact with them. Cool, thanks very much, Todd. And next time I am in Warwickshire, I might come along with your guest. Maybe she's convinced me that it's better than sticking pins in my eyes. I'll take that as a 50-50. If you can take guests, I might well come along as a guest at some point, because I am intrigued and it does sound like good fun from what you've said. I've seen your mates on Facebook and stuff, so I've seen the stuff that you post. It does sound like quite good fun. So yeah, and guests are at any time. Brilliant. So if anyone out there is thinking of giving networking a go, take Todd's advice from this podcast and give it a go. If you want to try Forum, go to spaghettyagency.co.uk and contact Todd. He'll help put you in touch with the right people. And if you would fancy joining me in a circle, my inner circle, then we would love to have you. businessforsuperheroes.com/inner-circle. And we'll be back next week, same time next week. No idea what we're talking about because I have not prepared anything yet, so I'm sure it'll be fabulous and exciting, and Joe will be back with me, and that's that really. So thanks a lot, Todd. Pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.